Hello everybody and welcome to Illuminated Productions. I'm your host Sam, and today we're going to be talking about a comedic gem, Starter for 10. We're going to kick off this holiday season with some laughs instead of some spooks. We're going to have a couple of lighthearted coming-of-age pictures in our back pocket for when we get a little bit too zonked out during the spooky season. I thought Starter for 10 would be a great place to begin. It's a highly underrated piece of filmmaking by director Tom Vaughn, starring James McAvoy, Alice Eve, Rebecca Hall in her first role, Dominic Cooper, James Corden, and Catherine Tate, not to mention Benedict Cumberbatch. Yes, that's right, Doctor Strange himself, in a pretty hilarious role. I mean, this is a really funny movie with a lot of heart about a university student who wins a place on University Challenge quiz team in the 80s with an impeccable soundtrack. I mean, just look at this for a second and appreciate the amazing tracks on here, not to mention the ones not even listed here. The film was written by David Nichols, who also wrote the book. The movie was produced by Tom Hanks and Pippa Harris, with production companies behind the film like HBO Films Picture House, BBC Films Playtone, and Neal Street Productions. It was released on November 10th, 2006. The movie is currently available to stream in high definition on HBO Max. And happy to report that it includes the 5.1 track on it, which is a pretty cool thing. It's pretty cool. If you have HBO Max, this is something I would highly recommend. And if you have to rent it from Prime or Vudu, or just buy the DVD maybe, you can also do those things. The film does have a Blu-ray release, but that's a Region B locked Blu-ray item there, so we are shit out of luck in the US. As you can see, it's got some pretty high critical reviews. IMDb, on the other hand, the numbers are kind of down on that. And I first saw this when it came out on DVD. I rented it. I might have known about it because of the soundtrack. I was really into researching bands I liked and their IMDb, so I would track which movies they were featured in and which they were going to be featured in, etc. And The Cure and the Smiths, you have just impeccable 80s songs here, and the film is a coming-of-age gem. I'm not going to give away too much. It borders on rom-com territory. It does underlie some drama, so it's not like a totally satirical comedy film. It is telling an earnest story about earnest characters who make mistakes along the way and points out to their shortcomings and tries to portray, I think, a pretty palpable character arc here with some really likable characters and some really laugh out loud comedic moments, which is, of course, is what we're kind of missing these days. Those die-hard comedy films from the 2000s, from the 90s, where they would just go kind of all out. This is always a movie I've liked. I've enjoyed returning to it. I'm excited to get a region-free Blu-ray player eventually so that I can watch this on disc. Though, again, it is nice that HBO does have that HD file with a 5.1 track on it. The running time is also only 92 minutes, which is great. I love when movies, especially comedies, don't overstay their welcome. I can't stress it enough. So many times you'll find movies that just would benefit so greatly by being 20 to 10 minutes shorter. So 90 minutes is a really good time, I think. Starter for 10 is rated PG-13, so you're not getting anything too crude or raunchy or really dark. Just enough bite to kind of keep your interest. It's really fun to watch these characters go from their A to Z. It's a lot of fun watching James McAvoy come out of his shell and kind of dominate the screen by the end, regardless of his downfalls. But I think, again, that just plays to the sympathy of the character and his story, in which we are deeply rooted and highly recommended, really, for the soundtrack and for the acting by James McAvoy playing the kind of stumbling, slightly pretentious, heady college freshman, if you will. A lot of dry humor, a lot of dark humor, a lot of British type of humor. Obviously, it's a British film, so you're gonna get that here. As far as watching the DVD, I think, for a DVD, the picture quality is fine. The 5.1 track is not super memorable to me now. Of course, with every song, you get a little bit of back speaker action going, so that's always nice. There's, again, a lot of needle drops here. Great bands like Tears for Fears, etc., etc. And you don't really get a ton of extras on this. It's hard to recommend that DVD when HBO has that 1080 HD video file up with the 5.1 audio track as well, especially those already subscribed to it. Can't recommend it enough, especially going into the kind of dreadful horror season here in October and Halloween. It's gonna get frightening, it's gonna get bloody and meek, so we want to have some comedies in our back pocket. I'm gonna hit at least one more underrated comedy that I think I'd like to talk about, and then start talking about some of the spookier titles and Blu-rays I've picked up. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in today. I really appreciate it. If you have a moment, please subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. Hit the bell to stay up to date on all these new videos we're dropping. I have a pretty lush season planned out from now into December and so forth. So thank you so much again. I've been Sam, you've been the audience. Take care of yourself and have a great week. I'll talk to you soon.